So, good afternoon, good day, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Yoruba Historical Conversation. So, today's topic is female genital cutting among the Yoruba in southwest Nigeria, violation of rights or rights. So, last edition, we had a topic on beyond the classroom, hands-on history of vocational learning and practice in Yoruba communities that was delivered by Dr. Mutiat Oladejo of the Department of History, University of Ibadan. She tried and refreshed our memory of past vocational practices and learning among the Yoruba people and highlighted current opportunities and challenges we can derive from it. The conversation also gave us a kind of suggestions, what almost everybody agreed on, that governance stakeholder the local government is so critical to enhancing vocational learning among Yoruba communities in southwest Nigeria. Now, today we are having our guest speaker to treat what is trend or what was celebrated in February 6th in particular about female genital mutilation. And as you all know, the February 6th is assigned as the International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation by the United Nations and other social activists that are against this. And in fact, the idea came from the past former Nigerian president, first lady, in person of late Stella Obasanjo, who through her office campaigned against this practice and advocated that the female genital mutilation should be abolished. And that was why the United Nations on February 6, 2003, adopted that day, that is February 6, as the day to celebrate or to observe the zero tolerance for female genital mutilations. And of course, the issue of female genital mutilation has continued to increase. It's becoming more and more critical issues, especially cultural issues in southwest Nigeria. And that is why we have our guest speaker to give us insights, share us insights of our experience and our knowledge on this particular topic. So I will be reading a little short citations of our guest speaker, Mofeyisara Oluwatoyin, who holds a PhD in anthropology from the University of Ibadan in 2014. She's currently a senior research fellow at the Institute of Child Health, College of Medicine, University of Ibadan, and she's a recipient of the American Council of Learned Societies African Humanities Program doctoral and postdoctoral awards in 2012 and 13 and 2016 and 17 respectively. She also has the Kabul Fellowship of the Department of Anthropology and African in Birmingham University in 2014, and she's also a Canadian fellow in 2016. She was a short-term scholar at the Brown International Advanced Research Institute, BIARI, Brown University, United States of America in 2016. Dr. Mobo through anthropological prism as research about child and adolescent health, immunization, sexuality, gender, and well-being, and other issues, cultural issues across board. So we have our guest speaker now to give us from our wealth of knowledge on this particular topic, female genital cutting among the Yoruba of southwest Nigeria, violation of rights or rights. You are welcome, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Abidoye. And I want to appreciate you for inviting me to deliver this talk. And I must say that a lot of effort has gone into different programs, and in order to stop, to halt the progress of female genital cutting or female genital mutilation, especially among the Yorubas. So my talk is going to be a little bit general, but more specific about the Yoruba, because I'm also a Yoruba. So thank you for inviting me. And the title, which we've all been seeing, is about female genital cutting among the Yoruba of Southwest Nigeria, violation of right or rights. And I will start with what is female genital mutilation, or what do we consider as female genital cutting. And I will adopt the WHO definition that states that FGM or FGC or FGCM, as we may call it, is all procedures that involves partial or total removal of female external genitalia or other injury to the female genital organs for non-medical reasons. And when we talk about non-medical reasons, it simply means that those reasons that we cannot ascertain, we cannot approve, that through medical or clinical reasons, they are not approved. I'm not talking about medicalization of female genital cutting or mutilation. That is also not part of it. So, and looking at it, all these procedures, we have different types of them. And according to WHO, they have actually helped us to group them into four. We have clitoridectomy, excision, infibulation, and other harmful procedures that are classified, which involved pricking of the genitalia, piercing of genitalia, incising, scraping, and cauterization of the genitalia. And all this type that the WHO, the World Health Organization, have classified, in Nigeria, as a whole, from different studies, that the most common type of FGM or FGC in Nigeria is type 2, which involve excision. And then we have about procedure which involve clitoridectomy. And then why about 6% have undergone different type of procedures, that involve type 3 of the female genital cutting. And all these are present in Nigeria. So we cannot say this problem is not with us. We have it. It's currently with us. And a lot of effort has been put in place in order to stop it, to erase it, to halt the process of female genital mutilation. And Dog Commission is also contributing to this effort. And I want to say thank you for when we just marked the mutilation. Then it is also good to look at the prevalence, the trends in female genital mutilation in Nigeria. It's remained widespread in Nigeria, and it's not only affected. Nigeria as a country is not the only country in the world that is affected by female genital mutilation. But when we look at it, we are in the third highest, third position when we talk about it. Nigeria accounts for the third highest number of women, girls, who have undergone female genital cutting or mutilation worldwide. And this calls for, what I would consider as alarm. And according to WNDHS report, which is the latest report that we have of 2018, it estimated that about 86% of women between the age of 15 and 49 years old, of which I am also part in a way, were subject to female genital mutilation before the age of 5. And that takes me to the age in which this is usually done. It's done usually between when the child is born and the age of 5, or shortly before marriage. And that is very, 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 very alarming. Well, let's continue. And I think looking at the prevalence, it's also good to look at the prevalence from, the reports, the data, the evidence that we have, and looking at national demographic NDHS data and the mixed lenses. It says that in 2021, the 2021 multiple indicator survey recorded that 18% to recorded decrease. Of course, I mentioned earlier that a lot of effort had gone into mentioned 2021, a lot of effort went into it. And the survey, the report shows decrease from 18% to 15% among women of age 15 to 49. And among children or girls of 0 to 14 years, it has decreased from 25% to 8% at the same period. And then in the prevalence report, Southeast have the highest prevalence, which is about 35, followed by Southwest, the Yoruba of Southwestern Nigeria, about 30%, and the lowest occurrence, prevalence happening in the northeast of the eastern part of Nigeria. And it is very important to note that these were the reported cases. There are a lot of unreported cases that must have, happened and that are going on. And it is also important that to note that even this decrease in 2018 had decreased from 25% in 2013 to 20% in 2018, according to NDHS reports. And looking at the NDHS report and the MISC report, it is vivid that 5 states are in the center of this in Nigeria. And these 5 states were Osun, Ebonyi, Ekiti, Imo, and Oyo. And looking at these 5 states, we have 3 states in southwestern Nigeria that are populated by the Yorubas. Okay, and I think it is very important to look at why do you high among the Yorubas, and that takes us to the sociocultural context of female genital mutilation. I'm going to do the summary here. The summary of female genital cutting is a long practice, is an age-long practice, and it's a cultural realm and a rite of passage that revolves around beauty, purification, cleansing of female. It's also believed to have fostered social cohesion and beneficial. And it is also believed that, or assumed that it is interest of the female child and that the female child is protected. And then one of other assumptions that so it protects and maintains sexual abstinence, and and also repressing unapproved untimely sexual activities or desires among unmarried. And it's also linked to the issue of reproduction and fertility, prevention of child and maternal mortality among the Yorubas. That's the sociocultural context of female genital mutilation among the Yoruba. The sociocultural context among the Yoruba of Southwestern Nigeria, they are categorize them into, I have cultural demands. Female genital mutilation is done based on cultural demands, that is genital mutilation. And the clitoris symbolizes male sexual organ, and if not cut, will grow to be like men's penis. So they believe that when a child is born and the clitoris is still intact, the child is still in the middle. That the child is owalagbede until the clitoris is removed. That child is sexuality, or the sex of that child is not totally separated, and eventually the clitoris might grow to become like male's penis. Another reason that cause that is put around the cultural demands is that female ideas are reformed by cultural beauty practice, such as female genital mutilation or cutting, and which is revised to shishewa, which is assumed that when a female, is circumcised, the female is called genitalia is, is cut, mutilated in our own word. The child is the female is assumed to make old and feminine, and now becoming like a transiting into the domain of being female. Then the some another cultural demands that encouraged perpetration of female genital mutilation in the sociocultural context of the Yoruba is the female morality standard of upholding strict modesty and chastity codes. And this is linked to virginity sustenance as a symbol of modesty, obedience, and what we will refer to omabire, so that this omabire, while growing up, will be able to have a socially approved currency of procuring adiori. The male is the adiori, the one who will socially and economically shield her from extortion, shame, and other things like that. Then the uncircumcised females are believed to be at the risk of hurting their child, especially at birth. That maybe when this clitoris touches the head of the baby, there could be occurrence of infection and some other things, and there will be stillbirth. In summary, like, looking at cultural demands, FGM is a right, oral, that is expected to a child, a female child is expected to, to pass through and also pass on to the next generation. And looking at some of the celebratory comments and prayers done, especially why the female genital circumcision is being carried out, you'll be hear words like "wana shere fomo." It means it is socially celebrated among the Yorubas. Then another category of sociocultural context that I've decided to discuss with us is the sex and sexuality. It is believed or assumed that female genital circumcision or cutting or mutilation is used to avert promiscuity among young females, and then it prevents paramount practice among married females. Mean that they believe that a child that's the clitoris or that is not circumcised is going to have uncontrolled sexual desires, a female, whether as a young girl or as married woman. So such women are believed to be mama yale. If they are, and in fact, it is said, in the common palace, they are that is why she's promiscuous. Then it's also done to prevent bad or shameful reputation of the family, because a child that is wayward or that is promiscuous brings shames to the family in the definition or in the assumption or in the construction of the larger social context. Then there's another paradox that is very important in this, is the involvement of women. Women are assumed or are seen, they have been proven to be, preserver of custodians of culture. And in this wise, this is mostly perpetrated or mostly emphasized by female, the gender involvement of the in FGC or FGM, perpetrating. So we're going to talk more about this as I proceed with the presentation. But it is not enough to look at the cultural context. Of course, those are the reasons, the assumptions, the constructions that has been done around female genital cutting or mutilation. It is also important to look at the health context. Yes, the practice of female genital cutting or mutilation have short-term consequences and long-term consequences. And some of these short-term consequences involve the immediate consequences, which may involve severe bleeding, pain, shock, tetanus, and other infections, complication during childbirth, affecting both child and mother, and may lead to child maternal and child mortality. Then there is also long-term consequences of female genital cutting or mutilation, which include a lot of gynecological problems. And studies cleansed and established all these consequences. We have fistula, we have increased in need for subsequent surgeries for some women, and emotional suffering, lack of sexual enjoyment, complications during childbirth, and the malformation of cysts and absence. And especially on these long-term consequences, I have a couple of pictures that I may not be able to show here due to ethical reasons, because they're a little bit gory, and for ethical dimension, I will not be able to show them. But studies have established this, and these are real. It happens. It is they are seen every day on the field. Then health context, of course, there are other health consequences that include callus scar formation, increase in risk of HIV transmission, damage to urethra resulting from urinary inconsistencies, hypersensitivity of the genitalia area, painful sexual intercourse, and sexual dysfunction. And the summary of FGC and health context is that female genital cutting or female genital mutilation often leads to sexual disinterest, pain during sexual intercourse, and sexual dysfunction. It may also cause psychological problems and contribute to marital conflict, infidelity, and divorce. It also has consequence of post-traumatic stress disorder, and this is very, it's something that is very alarming, affective, that it causes that also. So it is very important to 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 look at this, and in order to frequencies, all these health causes that later leads to different. I want us to know that health involves the social well-being of the society. Effort has been made, and Nigeria have policies, and that takes us to cutting or mutilation. In Nigeria, we have Violence Against Persons Prohibition (VAP) Act. There's Child Rights Act. There are state level child laws and state level legislation against female genital mutilation. Now, plan action for elimination of female genital mutilation in Nigeria is by UNFPA, and it's between 2021 and 2025. And actions are being rolled out in order to curb female genital mutilation in Nigeria. And from what I have but from the violation of rights, RIGHTS, of females, of girls, of women. And it is also important to to see from one of our studies, yes, we have laws, there have been efforts. And in the recent time, I remember the study I'm about to show us in 2019. It was conducted here in Ibadan. We realized that only 19.5% of our respondents even are aware of the Oyo State anti-FGMC law, violence against women. Why, in the same study, we also measured intention to practice female genital cutting in Ibadan. And we realized that 37% of those we conducted said they will protect their female child. Why 62.7% believe the norm has to be followed? And you can begin to hear like, I don't support female child, but in long tradition, kí a ṣe bí ń ṣe, kó rí bí wọ́n ṣe wí. Such an example, rest my mother. 30 year two female IQD is that
Lost. Yeah, okay. I think we've lost her, but we're trying to reach out back to her. So yeah, she has been giving us some data on research that has been carried out on female genital mutilation even in Ibadan. It's interesting that 60% those those that were interviewed or possibly research about agreed that they will still continue with that particular practice, and it's well, it has been an eye opening. While we are still trying to get back our lecturer on track, I will read out some of those things that she also mentioned. She has given us some socio-cultural context to social genital mutilations in Yoruba, especially in Yoruba land. She gave us the social coercion, the fact that the Yoruba believe that she encourage social corrections among the Yoruba people, and that it's an interest like the the female child are also interested in it. I wonder if they are well educated enough, possibly with this kind of conversations. Maybe they won't be interested in this particular practice. Then the cultural perspective or Kashashi, he said, or something like that. There are some cultural connotations that people will use to support this kind of practices, and that is also some of the things that we are having issues with. So she also talked about the woman, like some is a subject that is centered on the woman, and this subject is okay. So, let's see how to reach out to our audience while yes, okay, we've lost you. Hello, ma'am.
Okay, I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me, Mr. Dioye? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. You can hear me. I can hear you. Go
Okay,
ahead, ma'am. Go ahead, ma'am.
okay, I will just no, I've spoken about the social-cultural context, the earth context of female genital mutilation, where we we saw that there is a long-term consequence and there are short-term that are immediate consequences on female genital cutting or mutilation. Then I also want to take us through the the policy context of female genital mutilation. And I said that Nigeria is a signatory to different treaties on ending female genital mutilation in the world. It's a global problem, and Nigeria is one of the major hotspots where female genital cutting mutilation is being carried out globally. And I said that we have the VAP Act, we have the Child Rights Act, and we have other state level child rights acts, and at different level. Then we have national policy and plan of action for elimination of female genital mutilation by UNFAP, and that is between 21 and 2025. And I said that a lot of effort had gone into ending female genital cutting or mutilation in Nigeria, and the effort is not only by governmental organization, also non-governmental organization are in the forefront of ending this. And I said that in the recent time, we conducted a study in Ibadan because we were concerned about the policy, the awareness of children. Only 0.5% of those who were interviewed in Ibadan, actually use the Ibadan traditional areas, were had knowledge of these. I agreed that as accepted that, oh, they have heard about VAP law that pro. So asked them about their intention to practice female genital cutting, and about 62.7% agreed or told us that they are going to follow the norms, the practice, the right, because it is the right and they still want to do it. Even though some of them told us that they don't, like a woman that I'm just bringing out this quotation from the study. I do not support it because female genital, but because female genital is a long-standing tradition. Ẹ jẹ́ ká ṣe bí wọ́n ti ń ṣe kó lè bá a rí bó ṣe yẹ kó rí. It means that this woman, particular woman that represents a lot of mothers, will still continue to do female genital mutilation. And the argument is, yes, female genital mutilation or female genital cutting among the Yoruba, looking at it from the prism of cultural relativism, was relevant at a time to performing a particular function that is considered to be at the best interest of those who were involved. It was a practice that was assumed to serve a purpose to help the social system. But in the recent time, it is important to understand that there is cultural dynamism. Not culture is dynamic, and culture in itself. Maybe I should give us a short definition of what I, as an anthropologist, we consider as a culture. Is that totality of the system, is a complex whole acquired by a man as a member of a society, whatever you acquire, all the capability and ability you are able to acquire as a man, as a part of the society. And it is not static, it's something that changes every day. Yes, as female genital cutting was a rite of passage, and it was purposeful at that period in the past. Now there had been other explanations that has debunked the purpose for which it was practiced. One of it is female genital schistosomiasis that affect a lot of women, and that could also be an explanation. Genital warts, different infections that could have been in existence in the past and there was no solution to. And now we have medical, clinical, solution to, things that people will say, if you don't cut female the clitoris, if you don't circumcise a female, mama, and all those things. So in the current situation, with the multiplication and improvement and development in the health sector, female genital cutting is no longer relevant in beautification, clarification, and what have you of female body ritual. What is rather relevant for female body ritual is that personal hygiene and ability to have proper where to go and how to take care of it. And then prevention, what have you? All these are there. So the essence is that female genital cutting was once a rite of passage that was purposeful and relevant to the social system of the past among the Yoruba. But now it is against the collective woman, female, whether global, national, or right. And it is no longer applicable. So the misconception, the relevancies, other explanations around it are being debunked in several ways. And so for me, it is important for us to approach these through the emic and the ethic perspective to let the perpetrators, those who still believe in it, know that, oh, why do you believe this must be done? Okay, for this reason, these reasons, and then we could bring out evidences, data, report to debunk this. And I know with that, we need to end this. So I want to say thank you to everyone, to study participants that we did in Ibadan. Ayodele Oluwaseun, Oloruntomiwoye Tunde, Professor Mobowale, and Professor Olukemi Agboju. I also want to thank University of Ibadan, Don Commission for bringing me to talk about this, and the College of Medicine, the Institute of Child Health for allowing me to do this. Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you for your audience. Thank you.
So, Mobile, it's a very insightful presentation, and we are very sorry for the break in transmission. It's a network issue. Don't forget to subscribe and click on the subscribe button on our YouTube channel as we bring more. So we look forward to your questions now, and you can drop your questions on the comment section on the YouTube page as we like create those questions for our guests. Well, while we're in the course of promoting this lecture, we'll try and social media pages, and like some questions came about the. I don't know if you still have our lecturer on ground. Oh, I think we've lost connection with connecting to her. So I'll try and reach out to her if. Yeah, sorry for the network issues. Might be thanks so much for everyone for this presentation. The network has really dealt with us, but at least we keep the conversation going. See you some other time. Thanks so much.